Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Mindset Lounge with Morgan. I'm your host, Morgan Eldred, and this is your space for self improvement and success. Hi, hello, welcome to another solo episode. I haven't done one of these in so long, so I am so excited to sit here with you today. And this is part one of a 3-part series. This series is Spring Clean Your Mindset. If you're listening to this in real time, happy Monday. Happy first day of spring. It is glorious weather. I am so excited for this season. Spring is my favorite time of year. It's just exciting. The birds are out, the weather's getting warm. It is such a vibe. Today's episode is get out of your head and into action. Regardless of whether or not you followed a winter arc or you really stuck with it this winter, or you hibernated and you slowed down this winter, there's inevitably going to be a time where we kind of get into a little bit of a slump. We feel a little bit flat, we feel a little bit low. Now, these slumpy periods can last long term or they can last short term. And what we're going to talk about today is how to get out of our own head and get out of those slumps as quick as possible, because we want to get rid of that winter energy. We want to get rid of the slow vibes, and we want to get into this flourishing season. I'm a really big believer in our lives being kind of like seasons, or we follow the seasons. I think about all the other animals in the world. I spoke about this on the winter arc episode. All the other animals, they follow the seasons. You know, in winter, they hibernate. And I think we have the same. And Tony Robbins talks about this really well in that we have the winter months where we might be feeling a little bit low, a little bit sluggish, unmotivated. These might be our sad months, or we might be struggling in those months. And I guess these are seasons, so they could be for as long as possible or as short as possible. We have the springtime where we're blossoming and we're watering these seeds that we've planted and things are starting to come together. We have our summer where we're really flourishing and blooming and everything seems to be going well. And sometimes you could be in your winter for years, but inevitably you're going to come out of it. You're going to get into spring at some point. And so that's what we're going to talk about in this 3-part series, is getting into our springtime and getting into this flourishing season of our lives. Whether or not it actually is spring for you, we are entering our springtime. Getting out of your head and getting into action. That is step one. And I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story. The other day, I was in a winter day. It was a rainy, stormy, snowy, winter day for me. I felt so low and I got stuck in my head. I was stuck in my head all day. And I'm kind of grateful for it now because I can look back and learn from it. And I can look back and I'll talk to you guys about fixing it. But I was in a winter, I was in a slump and I could not get out of it. Let me tell you. And I obviously did. And now I feel amazing. And I feel like really, really excited to talk to you about how we're going to get out of our own heads. Because I thought I actioned some steps and I thought of some things and I want to share them with you so that you can also use those steps to get out of your own head as well. I'll tell you a little bit about my slump day. So obviously something just had triggered me and I started to spiral and spiral and spiral. And I started to overthink. I started to compare. And I didn't do anything to change my mindset. I just sort of let it keep happening. And of course, when things keep happening, they just snowball. And what you're not changing, you are choosing. So the fact that I was not changing anything, I kind of chose to be in this slumpy state. And I didn't accept it. I felt really guilty for it. I felt shameful and embarrassed. And when I had a cry to Callum, the first thing I did was say, I'm so embarrassed. I'm so sorry. I didn't let myself at all feel the feelings. So I really want you guys, if you had a good winter, if you had a bad winter, if you didn't stick to anything, if you did, doesn't matter. I want you to leave it all behind and I want you to release all the guilt and shame. I want you to start completely fresh today. It's a Monday. It's the first day of spring. If you're listening to this on a Thursday at 3 p.m. and it's the middle of winter, I don't care. Right now in your mind, we're refreshing. We've just erased everything behind us. We are in a new era, the flourishing era. Looking back, I know what I should have done. I should have, 1, released the shame, 2, taken some time to just switch off. And in that, I'm going to talk about the steps. I should have applied these 5 steps. So we have 5 steps that you are going to action to get out of your own head and get into action, to get into being present, to get into being intentional, and get back into being your best self, get back into being your flourishing self in your spring era. So step number 1 is stop fighting your thoughts. We are going to accept and embrace those thoughts and feelings. Where your attention goes, where your attention goes, your energy flows. What you focus on, it grows, and it grows and it festers and it ruminates. And I'm talking about the negative energy. I think the negative energy really, really ruminates when we focus on it. So what you're going to do is you're not going to ruminate. You're not going to focus really hard on these thoughts. But most of all, you are not going to fight them, because the more we fight something, the more we focus on it. And the more we focus on it, the more it grows. So we're going to let these thoughts come in, and we're just sort of going to watch them come by. You're sort of just going to like see it come in, and you're just going to sort of like let it keep floating onwards. Number 1 is stop fighting your thoughts. Start accepting them. We're not going to judge them. We're not going to judge ourselves. We're not going to label them. We're not going to label ourselves. When I started to have these negative thoughts the other day that led me into my spiral, my first thought was, you're better than this, Morgan. Why are you even thinking this? And then it just went downhill from there. It really, really did. So we're just not going to ruminate over these thoughts. That is step 1. So step number 2 is mindfulness and detachment. So there's 3 things. You don't have to do all 3. You can just do 1. But there's 3 things that you can do to become more mindful and slow yourself down. So step number 1 is accept the thoughts. Don't fight them. Once you've started to accept them and you're not actively like really battling with them, that's when we step into this mindfulness state, and we're going to start to detach completely from these thoughts. So we have meditation, we have breathing, and we have journaling. Within all 3 of these things, the main focus is that you are not your thoughts. You are your actions. You are not defined by what you are thinking. They're not always, really, our thoughts are barely ever true. They're always weird. They're always very scat. If you think about the things that you think, right? I don't know if anyone else has thought this, but like you see a baby in a pram, you go, imagine if I just like push that pram over. That's not logical thinking. That's not us. That's just a thought. So we are not our thoughts. We're not evil. We're not bad. We're not lazy. We're not anything. We are not our thoughts. We're our actions. So breathing exercises. We're going to take 1 minute to breathe slowly. Focus on our breath, nothing else. We're going to do big breaths in, but we're going to do even bigger breaths out. And every single time you breathe out, you're going to say, I am not my thoughts. Well, you're not going to say that. You're going to say it in your head. But yes, meditation. You can do 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I do not care, but you are just going to stop thinking and slow down. So this can be a guided meditation on your phone. You can just lay down for a minute, whatever. And then the third thing is journaling. So journaling, again, just journaling about your thoughts, brain dump, get that shit out of your head. But again, we're trying to tie everything back to you're not your thoughts, you're your actions. So even if you write down some of the good things that you have done, we're getting out of our head here, guys. So step number 1, accept those thoughts. Don't fight them. Step number 2, detach from the thoughts and get into some mindfulness and slow yourself down. So the next 3 are things that you're going to do after the first two. So the next three, you can either do one or you can do all of them. But I think the first two need to happen first, and then you can step into the next three. So the third thing is a tangible to-do list. When you are all up in your head, you're getting frazzled, you're getting overwhelmed, you're getting stressed, things feel very overwhelming, and we start to get freaked out about all the things that we need to do. And the things feel really big and they feel stressful. So in my case the other day, I was unraveling and it was all about work. And I felt like I had a million things to do. I felt like I couldn't get a handle on anything. And I was looking at the bigger picture. I was like, I need to get here now. But what we need to do is we just need to break everything down into micro actions, things that we can do right now to move forward. And they need to be achievable. They need to be tangible. So you're going to think about your big goal or the big task or what you need to do. And you can do this while you're journaling or meditating. And you're going to break it down into very bite-sized, very achievable steps. Action cures anxiety. Just moving forward, even if it's a centimeter forward, is going to make you feel good, and it's going to give you a bit more motivation, and it's just going to make you feel good about yourself. So create a tangible to-do list. So instead of when you're all up in your head and you're freaking out, you're like, holy shit, I've got to clean the whole house. It's a freaking mess. You're just going to say, okay, I'm just going to put this one basket of washing away, and then I'm going to cook lunch or whatever it is. We're simplifying it all. Number 4, and this can be done before or after the tangible to-do list, change your environment. This is so important when we're getting out of our head, getting out of this stressed, frazzled state. You need to go outside. You need to change rooms. You need to go to a cafe. You need to freshen up, have a shower. So when I was in my stressed out state and when I started to realize, I need to do something about this, I'm unraveling, my step 1 was have a shower and wash my face. I needed to change my environment. I needed to change clothes. I needed to get out of the room. So I had a shower and then I went for a little walk outside. It really does just sort of like change your state so quickly, because when you're in this one room, you're sort of just getting into this little cycle and this bubble. As soon as you step out of the bubble, you're able to be more mindful. You're able to detach yourself from the situation. You're able to think clearer. You're able to think about that tangible to-do list. So step number 4 or step number 3, however you want to do this, is change your environment, change your state. So step number 5, which is arguably my favorite, it's so important. And when paired with everything else, it really, really can get you out of your head and get you into action really, really quickly, is do a hard workout. I'm talking about a hard workout where you're puffing, where you're sweating, where you're grueling. It's hard. I don't care what that is, if that's a Pilates class or if that's a run or if it's a gym session or a bike ride. But I think working really, really, really hard and really like grinding makes you really present, and you don't really think about a lot of other things. Your head gets clear. And I mean, we could talk about all the benefits of training. You get endorphins, releases, serotonin, your cortisol drops down. But most of all, you're present. It's really, really hard to think about all the things you're stressing about when you are doing a massive set of shoulder press or a squat. Or it's really hard to stress about your work when you're sprinting up a hill. Just like, again, and this is changing your states, changing your environment. Step number 1, we're not fighting these thoughts, we're accepting them. We are remembering that where our attention goes, it grows. So we're remembering that the more we ruminate, the worse it becomes. Step number 2, we're becoming mindful and we're detaching ourselves from these thoughts. We are not our thoughts, we are our actions. Step number 3, 4, and 5. You're going to make a tangible to-do list. It's going to be micro actions that are going to move the needle, small tasks. We're going to change our environment, have a shower, wash our face, change rooms, go for a walk, anything. And we're going to go do a hard workout. We're going to go and puff and sweat and grind because that's going to force us to be present. So, guys, that was episode 1 of our 3-part series. We are spring cleaning your mindset. We're getting clear in our heads. And this is going to make you feel better in your sport, in your job, in your relationships. The clearer your mind and the more excited you are about life, the better. I will speak to you in part 2. We're going over your morning routine and your nighttime routine. Please let me know what you loved about today's episode. I really urge you to follow these steps, and anytime you feel an inkling of rumination or overwhelm or stress, come back to these 5 steps, and I promise you, you will not get stuck in your head. Have the best day, and I will talk to you in the next episode. I want to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, the Jacked Jockey Recipe eBooks. If you're anything like me, you want meals that actually taste good, fuel your body, and don't take hours in the kitchen. These ebooks are packed with simple, delicious recipes that are macro-friendly and comp prep approved. Honestly, they're perfect for anyone who just wants to eat well without the fuss. You can grab your copy at thejackedjockeyhealthandfitness.com and start making your weekly meal prep so much easier. I'll leave the link in the show notes for you to check out after this episode. Trust me, your future self will thank you.